All right. Welcome to today's Q&A. It is the 31st of December, which means tomorrow it's a whole new year. Whole new year, whole new opportunities, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay. Welcome to today's Q&A. My name is Jessie, here with Decker Truckline. We're here to answer your questions about trucking and the available positions here at Decker. So we'll also give you some details on our benefits, our orientation process, qualifying questions. What other questions would you have? Well, we're here to answer those. So in the chat, let's start with this. In the chat, if you could go ahead and put your questions, I'll answer them as they come in. If you're wondering about a specific area, what we have out of there, what the home time is, what the pay is, anything like that, please go ahead and put it in the chat and I will answer them as they come in. The more specific you are with your questions, the more accurate I can be with your information. Like, hey, I've got 3 years of experience and I live at this city and state, then I'll be able to tell you what your rate of pay is, how many or what different positions we have, what the running lanes are, that kind of thing. If you just say, what do you have available? That's a pretty broad question. And it just depends on where you live, and you'll get a lot of those answers. So I don't like non-specific answers. So I imagine you probably don't either. If you ask a question, you want a good answer, right? You want an answer that actually benefits you or educates you in some sort. So that's what this is all about. So ask your questions. We'll get them answered. Trucking questions, of course, about Decker Truckline specifically. And we'll talk about, like I said, we'll talk about qualifying questions, orientation, equipment, pay, positions, all that good stuff. That's what we'll do. But before we even drive into that lane, I do want to remind you that tomorrow, being New Year's, our shop hours will be closed. So they'll be closed tonight at 11:30 for the truck and trailer. Bessemer will close at 5:30 tonight. Missoula, Fort Dodge, Des Moines, Hammond, Mediapolis, they'll all close at 4:30 tonight. And everything will open back up at 7 a.m. Not tomorrow, Thursday. I almost said tomorrow. So Thursday, the 2nd, is when everything opens up. But I'm sure you all expect that. Of course, we do have our 24/7 roadside assistance, and we do have our after-hours operations that'll be available to you as well. That way we're covering our grounds in case you need anything, right? But as far as shop and office, the rest of the office, that they will be closed until 7 a.m. tomorrow. All right, there you have it. Well, let's talk about some of the available positions so you kind of know what the process is and if you qualify. So some of the available positions that we have here at Decker, driving positions, would be our over-the-road refrigerated, our more regional refrigerated, our over-the-road flatbed, or our more regional flatbed opportunities. That's currently what we have in our over-the-road refrigerated. There we go. We do have a team opportunity, just one team opportunity. The rest of them are solo positions. The team opportunity, you do need to live within, along I-80. So if you live along I-80 between Denver, Colorado and Chicago, Illinois, we do have a team opportunity that'll get you home about every 4 weeks. So you're out 4 weeks at a time, and we figure for every 7 days you're out, it's a day and a half home time. So if you're out 4 weeks, you're looking at 5-6 days home, right? Okay, so the rate of pay per mile for the team position, now again, this is just one position that we have available. This one would start you at a base of 60 cents a mile. So this is to the truck. So you've got 60 cents a mile, 30 cents a piece. 5 cents a piece of that 30 is going to be per diem because 10 cents of the 60 is per diem. So 30 and 30, and again, 25 that's taxed on each side. And the other 5 cents per individual, per driver, is not taxed. You'll notice that when I'm talking about rate of pay, if I forget to tell you when you're asking me specifically, then please know that we have 10 cents per diem is included in all of it. So I just don't want to overlook that when I start listing things off and talking real fast. I want to make sure that you are aware that 10 cents per mile is per diem in pretty much all cases, any of our over-the-road or regional positions. So Lance, how are you? How are you doing? I'm here in the cold, and I imagine you're nice and warm, right? There in Alabama. Good to see you. So, okay, so for that team opportunity, 10 cents per mile is per diem, so it's 50 cents that's taxed, 10 cents that's not, 60 cents total, split to the truck. The more miles that you run, the more pay you get per mile. But keep in mind that your pay, your weekly pay, is going to be at that 60 cents a mile. The extra pay, the bonus for the mileage, that's going to be paid the third pay period of the month following when you ran it. You'll also notice that our scorecard and our safety bonus, those are our 2 monthly bonuses as well for our solo company positions, refrigerated flatbed owner operators, lease purchase, as well as team. All that's the scorecard and safety bonus. Those are our monthly bonuses available to pretty much everybody. Those also pay around the third pay period of the month following when you ran it. So everything that's completed in December will pay the third pay period of January. Good? Crystal clear? I went all the way around that one. All right, so there you have it. And with the additional miles, so you're going to get an extra 2 cents if you run between 12 and 14,000 miles a month. 14 to 16 as a team would get you another 4 cents a mile. 16 to 18, another 6 cents a mile. And anything over and above 18,000 miles for the month is going to be an extra 8 cents a mile. And again, that's split to the truck, so 4 a piece. And that's all tax because the only amount that's per diem is the 10 cents per mile. Okay, now that being said, the majority of our teams are running around 24,000 a month. So you'll notice that our teams definitely run. We do have a lot of dedicated teams. The position that I've got currently available is an over-the-road team. It is not dedicated. However, you probably will get onto the dedicated here and there to cover for the teams that are going on home time or vacation or something like that. So there you go. HT Mail. Hello, Jess. This is Sean. Hey, Sean. How are you? My fellow Montanan. Len says, yeah, it's good. I'm good. 50 here. Yeah, and it is. I'm trying to see what my watch says for temperature, but it's cold. It's cold. Lots of snow and cold. It's not horrible. Mike says, hi, Mike. He says, afternoon in Wichita, Kansas, waiting on my load 50 miles here. Very windy. My load 50 here and very windy. There we go. Yes. I don't want to jinx it because it's not windy here and it normally is, but it's a nice cold. It's not horrible, so I'm not saying it's a negative 40 by any means. It's probably closer to 30, 35 here, I'd say. It was doable. For me, and I'm a wuss. But good. And we don't have the wind, which is a first for us. So I appreciate that. Anyways, if you have more questions, it's 22 here? That's what it is? It feels warmer than that, right? Maybe it's because it doesn't have the wind. All right. So it is for that team position. If you want to speak to a recruiter directly about it, 877-433-2537. I'm pointing because that's the number wherever it's at. I think it's over here. That number, 877-433-2537. That is the one to the recruiting department where they'll be able to answer your questions even more specifically. But again, the position, that team position, you do need to live between Denver, Colorado, and Chicago, Illinois along I-80 in order to be considered for that. So that's the first step. If you don't live in that area, then you're not within the hiring area for the team position. Now we have solo positions, of course, in multiple other locations, but that is for the team position specifically. Now, also for the team, you do each need to have a minimum of 6 months of over-the-road experience and the tractor trailer experience. And the reason being is because you don't want to go with a trainer or have multiple trainers and then all of a sudden come back. So ideally, you have the experience. You're going to start going solo, or you're going to start driving as a team, not training is what I was getting at, as soon as you've completed our orientation. And with 6 months of experience, you'll have just a 3-day orientation and then go into the individual driving right away. So there you have it. Again, it's 877-433-2537. Now, as far as the basic qualifications, whether you're a solo driver or a team driver, in addition to the 6 months of experience, we're also looking for a clean driving record. So no major moving violations, no DOT recordable accidents, nothing like that within the last 3 to 5 years. And I say 3 to 5 because 3 years overall on your record, 5 if you're in a commercial vehicle, okay, that whole time. So we don't want any tickets moving, or we don't want any major moving violations, no DOT recordable accidents, nothing like that in the last 3 years. That said, we can work with some tickets, some moving violations within the last 3 years. It just wouldn't be anything excessive. And we can work with no more than 2 in the last 3 years. So if you have 2 in the last 12 months, it's too much. If you have 2 across the last 3 years, last 36 months, we're probably okay. As long as it's nothing like a 15 over or a erratic lane change or reckless, careless, mobile phone, anything like that would be considered a major or excessive moving violation. So another example would be, say you have a 5 over ticket, you have a 5 over speeding ticket, we can work with that within the last 3 years. If you had 2, we can work with that within the last 3 years. Now, if you had them back to back and within the last 12 months, we'll have to wait till one of them comes out of the 12-month period. But other than that, you'd be okay. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the qualifying factors would be for at least driving experience and safety, right? Let's see, what else? DOT recordable accidents, all of that has to be at least 3 years old. Of course, that's a preventable DOT recordable accident. If you were hit or if you were involved in a DOT recordable accident, but it was not preventable, so it was non-preventable, then in that case, you obviously had no control over that. We don't deem, or the insurance didn't deem you at fault, or the highway patrol, or whoever it was, and therefore we can still move forward with it as long as you meet all of the other requirements. Fair enough? Cool. Very good. What happens, Commando says, what happens if someone is late for a load? Does it have to be rescheduled? Oftentimes, yes, and everything is a little bit, I can't really do a blanket answer for you, and that's because our customer base, some of them, yes, we can reschedule. Some of them we cannot reschedule. If it's late, it's late. And the other thing is, with our customer base, on-time delivery is essential, right? Because so much of our freight, especially on the refrigerated side, it's temperature control, it's time sensitive. In most of our cases, we need to have them on time. That is a must. Obviously, there are scenarios that are out of our control, whether it be weather or the ice storm. Was it a week ago or so? 2 weeks ago? That's out of our control. Those high winds, we didn't have any control of it. You didn't have any control over it. And so rescheduling is something that we will take care of. You have to reach out to your driver leader in order to get that rescheduled. So let's say, I'm doing a whole scenario here for you, Commando. So hopefully this will give you a good picture of where we stand with this. They need to be on time. Our customers do rely on on-time delivery because so much of what they do depends on how well we do it, right? And the contracts that we have, to keep our contracts, to keep our customers, they need to be on time. Now, that said, life happens, and I'm giving you the whole scenario here. If you recognize that you are not going to make it on a load, well, let's back up just one hair before that. You are dispatched on a load, and you recognize that it is going to be really, really tight. You need to pre-plan and plan out the whole trip, okay? So take a moment before you even start moving for the day. Before you do your pre-trip, I need you to go ahead and look through the actual dispatch and say, okay, this is where I'm going to start when I'm starting. I'm starting right away. If you have the information the day ahead, even better. This is where I'm starting. This is where I plan to take my first break, My second break, this is where I'm ending my day. That kind of thing. You know, where are you stopping for your breaks? Where are you getting fuel? Where are you eating? Know all of that. If you can align a lot of that together, it's even better. But you need to know with how much time you have on your clock, your hours of service, and where you're planning on taking your breaks. That's step one. So controlling your hours is very important. Now, if at that point you're recognizing, hey, you know what? I'm not going to make this schedule. You need to reach out to your driver leader immediately because they need to either find somebody who can make that appointment for you and get you swapped out and get you onto something else, or help you find a solution otherwise. So, Tom goes, I was afraid my truck doesn't go fast enough for 5 over. Come to flatbed side, more lenient. Yeah, with refrigerated, it is very, very pertinent that they are on time. Now, I mean, with flatbed and refrigerated for that matter, but flatbed often has windows. And in some of other cases for a refrigerated, some of those customers also have a large window. But, and that's information that you're going to need to know from your driver leader so that when you are planning out your day, you're recognizing that. And hey, I might not be able to make it at the beginning of the window, but I will definitely make it by the end of the window. And letting your driver leader know that, hey, I won't be able to make it as the door opens, but you know, I'm going to be an hour and a half later than I would prefer. Still on time, that's important, still on time, but not at the front end of it, right? And if that's the case, they know to not put you on a load, you know, stacked on top of it, but to make sure that you get that unloaded first. So that's really important. Commando also asks, do you have inward-facing cameras or only forward-facing cameras? We have both. We have the Lytx system, which includes both inward and outward-facing event recorders. Now, a couple of things that are important to note is one of the, well, not one of, but many features of the Lytx are options or add-ons. Live feed is an add-on or an option. We don't have live feed, so we can't just, I don't even know how you do that, but we can't log in and just sit and watch what you're doing. That's not how it works. The Lytx system and the options that we have here at Decker are for critical events, triggered by critical events. That's what it is. So if you were following too close, or if you had an erratic lane change or hard braking, something like that, which is considered a trigger, that would kick on the inward-facing recorder. You know, you have both recording at that point. So the inward and outward-facing event recorder. And it's a 20-second clip. So what it does is it'll get 10 before and 10 after. Okay, and the reason it can do that is because it rewrites over itself. So that's why it can do the 10 seconds before and 10 seconds after. And then it shoots it to the Lytx. They review it, and if they feel that it needs to be addressed, then at that point, Decker Safety will review it and reach out to you for the next step, or addressing it, or asking questions, or helping you out. Yeah, the inward ones, we've got those through the Lytx system. When it comes to turning off your truck, those inward ones turn off right away. The outward ones, however, those will stay on for 4 hours. So if you're stopping for the day, you get into the parking lot, you have 4 hours before the outward ones turn off, but the other ones will turn off right away. So yeah. And for peace of mind, like if you are, you're going into your sleeper, then, you put something on or close your blind. Like it's just for peace of mind if that prefers, but we can't log into it and watch or anything like that. Also to note, I was going somewhere with that. Hang on. With the Lytx, that's what it was. Sorry. So sorry. Also to note that with the Lytx system, if you notice the light between 10 and 2, so 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., they do an update on the Lytx system. And at that point, you'll see, I think it's a blue light. It's either blue or green, but that's updating the system. It is not it is not recording at that point. It is updating. Okay, so there's a difference on that one. Hi, Andrew. How are you? Good deal. So yeah, that's the lytic system. What else can I tell you about it? So our safety feature, our safety bonus that I mentioned just briefly, that is correlated with the lytic system. So it's called our lytic safety bonus. And you can actually log on to your TransFlow. If you go onto your TransFlow app, either on the tablet or on your phone, and you can access the Lytics app if there was, if there were any safety violations. You can kind of dive deep into that. And honestly, the best thing to do, in my opinion, the best thing to do is when you're looking at the Lytics app, reach out to the safety department and have them walk through it. So you've got some coaching to go right along with it. So you have a better understanding of what it is that you're seeing. And then the next time, you just have a better understanding. So, and you might want to do that a couple of times, and so you've got a good handle on it. But yeah, so that's to answer your inward facing cameras. We've got both inward and outward. So absolutely. Refrigerated, flatbed, those are the majority of the positions that we currently have available. Kind of give you a couple of one-off opportunities. In a whole, we have the refrigerated over the road and flatbed over the road. The flatbed over the road doesn't do a whole lot out west. So if you're looking to run out west in flatbed, probably not an option with us. Not right now. So most of the freight is going to run up and down the Midwest and towards the east in our flatbed. And that's in both the over the road as well as the as well as the more regional option. So keep that in mind. And then we also have a home weekly opportunity it is over the road flatbed, but it's a home weekly opportunity if you live between Bessemer, Alabama and Atlanta, Georgia. So along 20 there, that's a home weekly option. Keep in mind that even though it's home weekly, it's still over the road, meaning you're still running into the Midwest, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, Texas, really anything east of Denver is going to be in that route for you. It's just, we're able to get you home on a weekly basis there because of the amount of freight. So it's heavier freight volume in that area. So getting in and out is a little bit easier. So home normally on a Friday night or Saturday morning, and then back out Sunday night or early Monday morning for usually an early Monday morning delivery. That's the flatbed. And that's the home weekly. Now, it doesn't guarantee you home on the weekends, but it's definitely more of an option in flatbed than it is refrigerated. So, Trekking with Mark says, how does it work if you have 2 years experience but want to do flatbed with no experience? And I'm from Marion, Indiana, by the way, and I'm very interested in learning flatbed. So as far as running flatbed for us, you have plenty of driving experience to qualify for training. So you wouldn't have to go out on the road with a trainer, but you would definitely do the tarp and securement training in Fort Dodge. And one nice thing about that is a lot of the training is with a roof. So you will have some coverage when it's snowing or raining while you're doing the training and get a good handle on it. Of course, once you are out over the road, then you'll be doing it obviously in weather, but you'll have a couple of scenarios before you even head out on your own. Several different ones. And also you can check out our YouTube channel, not right now, but a little bit later. And we have some video tutorials on how to tarp specific loads. So if you watch those before you even come to our orientation, which with your experience, you go to a 3-day orientation, then you'll follow that orientation with some of the load and securement training and have you walk through that. So you'll see the demonstration, but if you watch the videos ahead of time, it sure helps understanding the demonstrations and progressing along the securement training much faster, much smoother, more effectively, all the way around. So if you watch them ahead of time, then when you do finish orientation, you go into the securement training, you'll have that demonstration in front of you. They'll be doing it. And then when you go hands-on, so they'll demonstrate, then you do hands-on before, you're released to go solo. So yeah, trekking with Mark, definitely an opportunity for you to start flatbed if that's what you want. In Marion, I believe we have a home weekly there. I'm double checking here to make sure that I'm not full of malarkey here. But I believe we have the home weekly, which would get you usually home Friday night, Saturday morning, back out Sunday night, Monday morning. That's the norm. And I'm just double checking. Yeah, you're right there in the midst of it all. So we also have a minimum pay of $14.50 a week in that one. So you'll have that safety net. So that's what I call it. It's a safety net. It's a minimum pay. It's $14.50 a week. So you won't make less than that $14.50 as long as you are, as long as you've met the qualifications. Those qualifications are going to be the same whether it's refrigerated flatbed or whatever. The minimum pay will be different level. So the minimum pay requirements are be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for flatbed. And then no load refusals. So don't be turning down loads because that's where everything goes haywire and our pre-planning and customer contracts and stuff like that can be thrown off. And that's why we're able to offer you that minimum pay instead of just saying, oh, you get cents per mile, that's it. And if you don't make a certain amount, you're still, you're as well. That's not the case. We have that minimum pay for this particular reason. Okay, so be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. No load refusals. No late loads, obviously very important. Communicate with your driver leader. Know your hours of service. Get your paperwork in on time. By the way, paperwork for this week should have been in by half an hour ago. Reason being, holiday tomorrow, and we need to make sure that we get all of your paperwork in and processed so that you get paid by Friday, just like normal. Normally the cutoff is at 10 p.m. Today it's a little bit earlier so that we can get everything done and ready to rock for you. Okay. Be available for dispatch with paperwork in. No CSA violations, no preventable accidents. By the way, this is a week-by-week basis. So these requirements that I'm giving you, you have to have met them each week in order to get paid that minimum. But remember your cents per mile and the miles that you run, if they're better than the $14.50 or $1,000, depending on your minimum pay, if they're better, you're going to get the better of the two. So just make sure that you meet the qualifications, because if you're meeting the qualifications, I'm betting that you're probably making more than that minimum pay anyway. Okay, that's just pretty normal, because you're making yourself available. You're utilizing your hours of service. You're not turning down loads. You're available for dispatch. No load refusals. I mentioned that one. No CSA violations. No preventable accidents. That's it, you guys. Those are the qualifications. Miles is not a qualification for this. However, like I said, if your rate of pay per mile and the miles that you run exceed that, you're going to get the better of the two, which is obviously ideal. Tom mentions that you can download. Oh yeah, the TransFlow app you can put on your phone. It is a Decker TransFlow app, Decker branded, and then you'll be able to link to the analytics. You'll also be able to link to our scorecard information, which is our other bonus that we can talk about too if you'd like. Tom said, first you say that I recruited you, and then we split the recruiting bonus. Speaking of recruiting bonus, today we do our quarterly recruiting bonus. Yeah, it's our drawing. So today we will draw for $1,000 on our Facebook page. So if you get a chance to watch here in a little bit, we will draw for the quarterly bonus, $1,000. See this fridge? Where's it at? It's a cooler, not a fridge. It's a cooler. That Decker cooler. Put the names in it for everybody who referred somebody for the quarter, and this is on top of the $2,000 that you get for every referral who hires on. You get paid the $2,000. However, your name also gets put into the quarterly drawing if you referred within the quarter. What else? Andrew says good. All right. Okay. So we have that later to do today as well. In a very busy December 31st. What else are we talking about? Flatbed, refrigerated. The $1,450, the $1,000. It depends on, like I said, the minimum pay depends on the area that you live, the position that you're going into. That said, most of the time, the rate of pay per mile and the miles you run will get the better of the two. If the more experience that you have, the more pay you get per mile. And I think that's probably obvious, but I do want to make sure that you're aware of that, because meeting and exceeding that minimum pay is that much easier for somebody who has more experience than someone who has, say 6 months or a year. You've got 15 plus years of experience and you're in the flatbed division, you're starting at 70 cents a mile, instead of 55 cents a mile for someone who's brand new, or 56, excuse me, for flatbed. In the refrigerated, we start someone with 6 months of experience at 56 cents a mile. If someone has 15 years of experience, you're starting at 65 cents a mile. 65 cents a mile. 10 cents a mile is per diem. That's what I meant to say. And you do get a penny raise after 90 days, and you'll get a penny raise annually as well. So that's also kicking in. Now, the cap right now is at 70 cents a mile. So if you started at 70, say the flatbed division, then you won't have the pay increase right out of, because you're at 70 cents a mile, and that's the cap. But we do have the monthly bonuses, which can be another 5 cents a mile on all the miles that you completed for the previous month. So that's a month by month basis, but there is a possibility on that as well. So I'm going to take just a time out to address the bonuses that I just hinted on, or just brought up. The bonuses are the scorecard and the safety bonus. The safety bonus is based off of the Lytx system, which I mentioned earlier, and that can be an extra penny per mile on all the miles you completed. So for the month of December, I'm pointing over here because this is my calendar, but for the month of December, if you had, if you had 10,000 miles for the month of December, and that were all completed, so you're done by the 31st, then you would get a penny per mile on all the miles that you completed for December. Now, if you had a load that you picked up on the 30th, so yesterday, and you don't deliver it to the 1st, that specific load won't fall into December, but it would actually fall into January, because that's when you delivered it. If they delivered on January 1st, but that was a poor example, but you know what I mean. So that's the safety bonus. And again, the Lytx system is based, or the safety bonus is based off of the Lytx system, and any points that you might have gained because of erratic lane change or critical events, basically. So with the Lytx, or with the safety bonus, the better, if you have a 0, then that's a perfect score. If you start getting points, then, against you, then that drops basically your score on the safety. Where it's reverse is the scorecard. Our scorecard perfect score is 1,000, so we want the big number in this one. And you lose points if you didn't meet the criteria. Criteria for the scorecard bonus, which can be an extra 4 cents a mile on all the miles that you were dispatched or completed for the month, the previous month. But with the scorecard, you could have, the qualifications would be miles, fuel compliance, idle time, CSA violations, preventable accidents, on-time delivery, claims. Those are the 7 criteria. I knew I had 7. I had to use all my fingers. So those are the criteria for the scorecard. So combined between the scorecard and the safety, the perfect scores would get you an extra 5 cents a mile. So that's our goal, is to work with you guys to get you the maximum bonus on that. So Tom says, be sure to come out in March for the first 2-time Grand Champion. Yours truly. So that was a great one. Tom was one of our Grand Champions. Yes. We've had let's see, we've done this since 2016, right? Art was our first grand champion. I remember that. And it's usually the end of the first quarter that we recognize all of our driver of the years. So each division has a driver of the year. And the only way you can be driver of the year is if you earn driver of the month. You can only earn driver of the month one time within the calendar year. And you can be nominated multiple times, so you can get like runner up, but you can only win at one time. And then those 12 individuals from that division are reevaluated. So you first get your evaluation, then you get reevaluated and dive deeper into it to determine who the driver of the year is. That's a $3,000 prize to earn driver of the year for the different divisions. And then grand champion is chosen from those 5 drivers. We've got our over-the-road refrigerated, our regional refrigerated, our over-the-road flatbed, our regional flatbed. And when I say refrigerated, I mean refrigerated or dry van. We've got, that's the same division. And then we have our owner-operator lease purchase division. So those 5 divisions go into a pool, and then they dive even deeper to determine who our grand poobah is, our grand champion. And yes, Tom was one of them. Now, you can't be back-to-back grand champions, but you can earn grand champion twice, which I don't believe we've had anybody win grand champion twice. We have had multiple back-to-back, or let's see, Tom, you have had 4 or 5. Is it 5 now? He has earned driver of the year multiple times. Let's say that, multiple times. And you can earn driver of the year multiple times. You just can't, and back-to-back. You just can't earn grand champion back-to-back. Yes. Mike says communication is key, no matter how small or big the issue is. Oh, very true. And I think that, he says communication is key here. I don't know if I said that, but absolutely. And I think that goes across the board, right? For us and for you. So that said, we have been trying to improve our communication as well. So, I mean, obviously, if we're asking you to communicate and over-communicate, we are also trying to do the same thing. For example, through the communication department, we try to, or we don't try, but we get a newsletter out every week. So on Mondays, you get a newsletter. And that gives you some of the news, the internal news about Decker, what's going on, if we've had recent awards, if we had something to celebrate. I mean, when Andrew received his Highway Hero Award, we recognized him in the newsletter, along with online and, everywhere, our social media, everywhere we could. But our newsletter is more of an internal communications to keep you in the loop of what's going on. And the last couple of weeks, we've had several awarded accounts, and in those, obviously, we put that in the newsletter as well. Any other activities that we have, we put in there. But we like to communicate with you that way. Updates, this is a key update, actually, that went in the newsletter last night when we sent it out yesterday. One of the key updates is the med card. It was less than an hour from when I had said differently. I had to get out to all of you guys and let you know that this information had changed. For example, we have our Aplos, we changed insurance. So starting tomorrow, we'll have the Aplos insurance, and we have Med1 cards. Now, originally, we were told that the Med1 cards would be the same, and you could just use those. We are now finding out differently. So, that said, your Med1 information, your new Med1 information, will be on your new Aplos card. So please use that. And if you are scheduled for any surgery or anything like that, any procedure, please make sure that you reach out to the insurance and over communicate that, right? Speaking of communications. So yes, no issues too big or small for that. I definitely agree. Communication is important. That was just a side note because you reminded me that I definitely needed that. But we do communicate through our MobileCom, so messages that you'll receive on your TransFlow, your tablet, which again you can get on your phone as well. The tablet is in the truck. We also communicate through our newsletter, which is received through email. It's info@deckermail.com. We try and stay in the loop on our Facebook pages, the Facebook groups, by phone, however we can to help make sure that we're all on the same page and accessible to you. There you go. Very good. What else was I talking about? Grand Champion. Well, so in addition to the Grand Champion, that's usually the end of March or so. We also go through all those who've earned million miles for the year. Million mile, 2 million mile, 3 million mile, 4 million mile. I think the highest we've had is 5 million, right? Is it 5 million or 4 million? We've had some pretty big ones, but we celebrate those during our awards as well. So those are our Decker Awards ceremony. Usually the end of the first quarter, sometimes March, sometimes April. So you'll have to stay tuned for more details on that. And if we will see a 2-time Grand Champion, well, I don't know. I don't know until you know, to be honest with you. So that part is always news to me. Same with the Driver of the Year. When I know just moments before as I'm getting all that paperwork out to you. not paperwork, but the announcements out. Calling you and letting you know, hey, you've got a hotel room. Ooh, are you going to be here?